this is Al Williams of Sunset Hill Solutions. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to install and configure DotNetNuke 7, which was just released in late November. And this video will also cover setting up and configuring security roles and users within DotNetNuke. So I've been using DotNetNuke since 2004. I believe the first version I used was version 2.1.2. Now we're up to version 7, and I think this is by far the best yet. It keeps improving every time there's a major release, and I really like a lot of the enhancements that are made in version 7. We're going to be installing the Community Edition of DotNetNuke. DotNetNuke comes in a Community Edition, which is free. Anybody can download and use it. There's also a Professional Edition that has more advanced functionality. But just from my experience, I know that I've been able to do everything I've needed to accomplish with the websites I've built using DotNetNuke with the Community Edition. Now let's get started on downloading and installing DotNetNuke 7. In order to download the product, go to dotnetnuke.codeplex.com. Click on the Downloads tab, and you can see the different downloads that are available. What we want is the new install. There's also a version upgrade, so if you're running a previous version of DotNetNuke and you want to upgrade to version 7, you would download the version upgrade. In our case, we're performing a brand new install, so this is the one we're going to select. Okay, the download is finished. What I've done is I've created a folder on my C drive called Web Apps and a subfolder under that called DNN7 Demo. The next thing I need to do is unzip this file. So I'll pause the video while this zip file extracts all the files. Okay, all the files have been extracted from the zip file. I can go ahead and delete this install.zip file. So now we have all the files we need in order to get started with getting DNN7 configured. The install wizard has a couple of options. One is to use a default database, which is stored in the app_data folder. This one right here. The other is to allow you to select a specific database on a SQL server, and typically that's how most companies install DotNetNuke. They don't use the default. So we're going to go ahead and create a database on SQL Server 2008 that we want to use for this demo. So we'll switch over to SQL Server now, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new blank database. I'm going to call this DNN7 Demo. I can call it anything I want to. I'm just going to use it for the purpose of this demo. And click OK. So we will have a blank database called DNN7 Demo. The other thing we have to do is assign a user account to this database that has DBO rights, because DotNetNuke needs that user to be able to create tables, delete tables, and so forth within the database. So it needs DBO rights. We'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to add a new login here. And let's see, I'm going to call him DNN7 user. And we'll use SQL Server authentication. And we'll click OK. So now we've got this new user added to the SQL Server. We want to add them to our DNN7 demo database as a DBO. So we'll go into Security, Users, and we want a new user. We'll select the user that we just created, which is this one. Click OK. Click OK. And we want this user to belong to the DB owner role. I'll click OK. So at this point we have our blank database. We have added a user with DBO rights to this database. As you can see, there's no tables in this database at this point. It's completely empty. The next step is to configure Internet Information Services, IIS, for this new website. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add a new site. I'm going to call it DNN7 demo. I select the path to the website root, which is in C Web Apps, DNN7 demo. Click OK. The host name, we'll call this DNN7 demo as well, and I'll show you where we have to make a change in the host file. Okay, that's what we want. We'll click OK. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to make sure the application pool for this DNN7 demo website is using the right version of the .NET framework, and for version 7 of DotNetNuke we have to be running version 4 or above, so I'm going to change that right here. Okay, we're finished with IIS. I'm just going to start the okay, so the website is running. The next step will be to configure the host file. So we need to go to C Windows System 32 drivers etc, and in there's a file called hosts. We want to edit that, and we want to add another entry here so that when we enter the URL it recognizes it as being on a local machine. DNN7 demo. Okay, I'll save this. One more thing I have to do, I have to make sure that the network service account has full rights to this folder. So I'll go up ahead one level to the web apps folder. I'll right click it, select properties, security. I want to edit, and I want to add user. Click on advanced and find. I want to find the network service account. There it is. Click OK. Click OK. And we want to make sure this network service account has full control. And click Apply. Now that we've done all those steps, the next thing that we want to do is to get the installation wizard started on our demo. So what we do is we're going to browse to DNN7 demo. Now this is going to take a couple minutes to load up since it's the first time we're accessing the site, so I'm going to pause the video for a minute. Okay, that took close to a minute, but we have the installation wizard up now. So the first thing we have to specify is an administrative account. So I'll just keep the username as host. Put in the password. The website name, I'm going to call it DNN7 demo. And you have various templates you can use for the installation. There's a blank one that has no pages. There's a default template that's got a number of predefined pages, which is good for the purposes of this video. So I'm going to keep the default template and language English. There are other languages available. Now, database setup. We're going to do a custom database, and we're going to select SQL Server as the database type. Our server name is PC-2010, database name DNN7 demo. Security is going to be user defined, so the username that we created was DNN7 user, and I'll put a password in. So now that we've specified the database information, we'll click on continue. And we can see that the installation is progressing. They have a really nice progress bar for version 7 of DotNetNuke for the install. It's very intuitive to see where the install is at. I'm going to pause it while this finishes. So as you can see, the install took a total of 1 minute. The first thing it did was check to make sure the file and folders had the correct permissions. That was that step where we added the network service account with full access to the website root, created the database, tables and views and stored procedures, installed the default extensions, created the website itself, and created the super user. So the next thing we want to do is click on View Website. So when the website first opens, there's a pop-up window here that says welcome to your DotNetNuke installation. You have the option of viewing some videos that are on YouTube. You can click on these links to set some advanced configuration settings. We're going to do that separately. Or you can just say let me add it, and it's going to open up the website. So click on that. So there we go, we're logged in as a super user. We see the control panel up here that the super user has access to, and we see the website created with the default template, and we have a number of pages, about us, our services, contact us, and so forth. So let's go ahead now and change some of the basic settings you're going to want to change right off the bat. So from the top menu here, if I just hover over admin and click on site settings, this lets me change some basic and advanced settings. Let's see, what do I want to change here? Well, the copyright, for example, I want to make this copyright my company because I'm doing the work on this website. I can put a description. Keywords are used for search engines. I'm going to leave that empty for now. Let's just have a look at the appearance. So the logo, let's change the logo. We want to have a custom logo here. So I'm going to upload a file, and this will be in C archive DNN7 demo. So I've created this new logo for the demo. Click on open. And there we go, DNN7 demo. So that's what we want. I'm just going to go ahead and update this and then explain a few other things that are on this screen. So we're still in the basic settings tab of the site settings. I want to explain a little bit about the skins. So with DotNetNuke, you're not restricted into how your site looks just because you're using a prepackaged application such as DotNetNuke. It's very extensible. You can purchase third-party skins and containers and extensions. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, the way that this website looks with the gray background, the menu items, the way they appear, the way the containers look here, this is all driven by the skin design. You can change this if you want. There's a .NET Store. If you go into store.dotnetnuke.com and click on skins, you can see a number of commercial skins that are available. So here's just some examples. Here's a kind of a beach themed skin if you want your website to look like that. Here's a 5-color multi-pack skin. So with this, if you buy the skin, you can have it with these different colors and these layouts. And here's another skin, optical orange. So these are just some examples of how your website can look if you're using .NET and you want to purchase a commercial skin. We'll have a look at a few more of the site settings. Let's click on the Advanced Settings tab. I'm not going to be going through all of these, but I will just touch on a few here. You can specify, if you want to have a login page, a custom login page, you can specify it here. Same with the registration, user profile, etc. Security settings, this is where you specify the account that is the administrator of this particular website, the time zone for this website, which in our case is Central Time. I'll click on Update. The other thing I want to show you is the user account settings. The very first one is kind of important, the registration settings. So private means that I, as the website administrator, can go ahead and add users to this website. So this would typically be for a company intranet, for example. Public would be if you have a public website where you want users to register for your site and have access to specific pages that maybe non-registered users wouldn't have access to. Verified is very similar to public, except that the user is sent a verification code in order to log into the application for the first time. So we're going to change the user registration to public in this example, and we're going to say we want to use CAPTCHA for registration. So what this means is when the user registers for the site, they have to put in a combination of letters and characters in order for the registration to work. Kind of typical for a lot of websites. So I'll just make those two changes for now and click on Update. Now I'll go back to the home page, and I'm going to log out as a super user. So now that I've logged out, you see that top panel here where it had the administration components isn't visible. The rest of the website is, however, and I also have a register button here because I said the website was public. I'm going to click on this button just to show it happens. We get a pop-up window come up where the people can put in their username, password, email address, and so forth, and they can register at this site. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to log back in as a super user. Okay, now I'm logged back in. One more thing I want to change. So if we go into the host settings and click on the host settings link here, I want to show you one particular setting you're probably going to want to set up right away if this is a public website and users have the ability to register. If you click on the Advanced Settings tab and you go down to SMTP server settings, these are the settings you have to enter for your email server. So this will, because DotNetNuke has a lot of functionality in which emails are sent from the application, you have to specify that right here. I'm not going to do this for this demo, but I'm just saying this is kind of an important step when you're getting set up with your DotNetNuke 7 website. Okay, we'll go back to the home page. And the next thing I want to talk about are security roles and users in DotNetNuke 7 and how you can restrict and give people the ability to edit certain pages within the site, to edit parts of certain pages within the site. So it's very, very flexible that way, and I want to give you a little bit of understanding as to how that works. So in order to demonstrate how the security roles work, I'm going to go ahead and change the names of a few of these pages just to make it a bit more clear. So I've got the About Us page selected. I'm going to go ahead and go and edit page, page settings, and this will allow me to change the name of the page. So I'm going to change this name to page to accounting. So this will be a page that the accounting department would have access to edit. That's the only thing I'm going to change. Click on Update Page. I'm going to pause the video now while I rename the remaining two tabs. Okay, so now we have the home page, which we had before. We have a page called Accounting, a page called Investments, and a page called Human Resources. So this will be used to illustrate how the security roles are used within DotNetNuke. So the next step I'm going to do is go into Admin, and I'm going to select Security Roles. So now we want to add a new role. I'm going to call this role Accounting. So this role we're going to put in users who belong to the accounting department. So I've entered a description, users with the ability to edit accounting department pages, and I'm just going to go ahead and update. So now we see we have an accounting role. I'm going to pause the video while I create two more roles. Okay, so in addition to the accounting role we created, I also created one called Human Resource and one called Investments. So these correspond to the page names we have here, and that's just for the purpose of this demo. We could have called these roles anything we wanted to, but just to illustrate how the security works, I figured I'd make them the same name as the pages we want to assign that role to. Now that we've created our three custom roles, the next thing we have to do is add some users to those roles. So I'm going to go ahead up to the top, Admin, and click on the User Accounts link here. So right now we have no users on our website except for the super user that I'm logged in as right now. So we want to go ahead and add some users that we can assign to those groups we created. So I click on the Add New User button. So I filled in this form already. I've made the username A. Williams. The username is Alan, or the first name and last name, Alan Williams. And the notify checkbox here, if you have this checked, the DotNetNuke 7 will send out an email to the user advising them that they've been added to the portal. We're not going to check that. We're just click on Authorize. We put in a password, and we'll click on Add New User. So now user A. Williams is showing. I'm going to pause the video and add two more users. So you can see I've created two more user accounts, one for Frank Davis and one for Jim Smith. The next step will be to assign these users I've created to those three security groups. There's a couple ways to add users to security roles. From this screen, if I click on this icon right here, this lets me manage the roles for user A. Williams. So I want to add this user to the accounting security role. You can add an effective date and an expiry date. So for example, I could add this user to the accounting role for a period of 1 month where they belong to this role. Let's say, for example, the month of December 2012. At the end of December 2012, the user would no longer belong to this role. But by default, these are blank, so I'm adding A. Williams to the accounting role, and there's no expiry date. Just click Add User to Role. You can see it belongs to the accounting role now. There's another way to do that. I'll just show you how to do that. If I'm in the Security Roles tab, and let's say Human Resources, I want to add one of those users to that group. I click on the Manage Users here, and I want to add Frank Davis to the Human Resources. Add User to Role. Good. And the other user that we created will add to the investment role, and that would be Jim Smith. Add User to Role, close. So now we've created 3 security roles, and we've created 3 users and added one of those users to each of those security roles. So at this point, we want to give those 3 security roles that we created the ability to edit certain pages within the website. There's also a few ways to do that. So let's just first go to the accounting page. I'll click on Edit Page and Page Settings. What I want to go is Permissions. So we can see that all users can view the page. By default, people in the administrator's role can view and edit the page. I want the accounting staff, people that belong to this accounting role, to have the ability to edit the page. So I check that box and Update Page. So now that's been done. The other way to do that, and we'll do it for the other 2 pages, if you go into Min and Page Management. Now if I select the Investments page here, I can go to Permissions right here, and I want the Investments role, the ability to edit the Investments page. Click on Update, and now I'll select the Human Resource page, and I want the Human Resource role to have the ability to edit this page. Okay, so now for the 3 security roles we've created, we've added one of those roles to each of these pages in the Edit Page role. Now I should mention at this point that for this example, we're creating user security roles for editing certain pages within the site. You can also have the people belonging to certain security roles only be able to see certain pages. So as you can see, there's 2 types of permissions. One is View Page and Edit Page. And right now for our site, we're letting all users view the Human Resource page. If I only wanted the Human Resource staff to be able to see that page, I would uncheck the All Users. In fact, we'll leave this setting right now just to illustrate how that works. So right now, I'd either have to log in as administrator or as a user in the Human Resources role in order to see this page. Okay, Update Page. Alright, go back home, and we'll log out as a super user. Okay, now I'm going to log in as one of those users we just created. And in this case, I'm logging in as user A. Williams. And since I don't belong to the Human Resource group, you see I'm not seeing that Human Resource page now. I'm just seeing Home, Accounting, and Investments. If I click on Investments, as you can see, I can see the page, but I don't have the ability to edit the page. If I click on the Accounting page, now, because I've been put into the Accounting Security role, I have the ability to edit this page. And I just simply go up here to Edit Page, edit this page, and now I have the ability to edit the content on this page. I'm not going to go into editing content in this video. I'm going to create a separate video that was going to focus solely on managing content in DotNetNuke 7. But this shows you how you can assign permissions, and based on those permissions give people the ability to view or edit pages within your DotNetNuke 7 website. Just one more example. Now I'm logged in as user Frank Davis, and Frank Davis was a user that belonged to the Human Resource group, which we had set that only users in that group could view or edit the Human Resource page. So now we can see that the Human Resources page is showing on the website. If I click on the page, I can edit this page because I'm logged in as a member of that security role. So this is Al Williams from Sunset Hill Solutions. I hope you found this video useful. I'm going to be creating, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, a video that focuses solely on editing content and managing content within .NET Nuke 7. Once again, hope you enjoyed.